Hello folks, Dan here. I am very pleased today to present a guest reading from a member of the Mythoverse community, James Stern. He will be reading for you the Iliad, Book 1. Let's join him as he reads for us the first part of this epic poem by Homer. Let's join Achilles and Agamemnon during their quarrels which took place in the final year of the Trojan War.
The Iliad, translated by Augustus Tabor Murray. Book 1. The wrath sing, goddess, of Peleus' son Achilles, that destructive wrath which brought countless woes upon the Achaeans, and sent forth to Hades many valiant souls of heroes, and made themselves spoil for dogs and every bird. Thus the plan of Zeus came to fulfillment, from the time when they first parted in strife Atreus' son, king of men, and brilliant Achilles. Who then of the gods was it that brought these two together to contend, the son of Leto and Zeus? For he in anger against the king roused throughout the host an evil pestilence, and the people began to perish, because upon the priest Chryses the son of Atreus had wrought dishonor. For he had come to the swift ships of the Achaeans to free his daughter, bearing ransom past counting, and in his hands he held the wreaths of Apollo, who strikes from afar, on a staff of gold. And he implored all the Achaeans, but most of all the two sons of Atreus, the marshallers of the people. Sons of Atreus, and other well-grieved Achaeans, to you may the gods who have homes upon Olympus grant that you sack the city of Priam, and return safe to your homes. But my dear child release to me, and accept the ransom out of reverence for the son of Zeus, Apollo, who strikes from afar. Then all the rest of the Achaeans shouted assent, to reverence the priest and accept the glorious ransom. Yet the thing did not please the heart of Agamemnon, son of Atreus, but he sent him away harshly, and laid upon him a stern command. Let me not find you, old man, by the hollow ships, either tarrying now or coming back later, lest your staff and the wreath of the god not protect you. Her I will not set free. Sooner shall old age come upon her in her house, in Argos, far from her native land, as she walks to and fro before the loom and serves my bed. But go, do not anger me, that you may return the safer. So he spoke, and the old man was seized with fear, and obeyed his word. He went forth in silence along the shores of the loud resounding sea, and earnestly then, when he had gone apart, the old man prayed to the Lord Apollo, whom fair-haired Leto bore. Hear me, god of the silver bow, who stand over Chryse and holy Scylla, and rule mightily over Tenedos, Smithian god, if ever I roved over your temple, to your pleasing, or if ever I burned to you fat thigh pieces of bulls and goats, fulfill this prayer for me. Let the Danaans pay for my tears by your arrows. So he spoke in prayer, and Phoebus Apollo heard him. Down from the peaks of Olympus he strode, angered at heart, bearing on his shoulders his bow and covered quiver. The arrows rattled on the shoulders of the angry god as he moved, and his coming was like the night. Then he sat down apart from the ships and let fly an arrow. Terrible was the twang of the silver bow. The mules he assailed first, and the swift dogs, but then on the men themselves he let fly his stinging shafts, and struck, and constantly the pyres of the dead burned thick. For 9 days the missiles of the god ranged among the host, but on the 10th Achilles called the people to assembly, for the goddess, white-armed Hera, had put it in his heart, since she pitied the Danaans when she saw them dying. When they were assembled and gathered together, among them rose and spoke swift-footed Achilles. Son of Atreus, now I think we shall return home, beaten back again, should we even escape death, if war and pestilence alike are to ravage the Achaeans. But come, let us ask some seer or priest, or some reader of dreams, for a dream too is from Zeus, who might say why Phoebus Apollo is so angry, whether he finds fault with a vow or a hecatomb, in hope that he may accept the savor of lambs and unblemished goats, and be willing to ward off the pestilence from us. When he had thus spoken, he sat down, and among them rose Calchas, son of Thestor, far the best of bird diviners, who knew the things that were, and that were to be, and that had been before, and who had guided the ships of the Achaeans to Iliad by his own prophetic powers which Phoebus Apollo had bestowed upon him. He, with good intent, addressed the gathering, and spoke among them. Achilles, dear to Zeus, you bid me declare the wrath of Apollo, the Lord who strikes from afar. Therefore I will speak, but take thought and swear that you will readily defend me with word and with might of hand. For I think I shall anger a man who rules mightily over all the Argives, and whom the Achaeans obey. For mightier is a king when he is angry at a lesser man, even if he swallows down his wrath for that day. Yet afterwards he cherishes resentment in his heart till he brings it to fulfillment. Say then, if you will keep me safe. In answer to him spoke swift-footed Achilles. Take heart, and speak out whatever oracle you know. For by Apollo, dear to Zeus, to whom you, Calchas, pray when you reveal oracles to the Danaans, no one, while I live and have sight on the earth, shall lay heavy hands on you, besides the hollow ships. No one of the whole host of the Danaans, not even if you name Agamemnon, who now claims to be far the best of the Achaeans. Then the blameless seer took heart, and spoke. It is not then because of a vow that he finds fault, nor because of a hecatomb, but because of the priest whom Agamemnon dishonored, and did not release his daughter, nor accept the ransom. For this cause the god who strikes from afar has given woes, and will still give them. He will not drive off the Danaans the loathsome pestilence, until we give back to her dear father the bright-eyed maiden, unbought, unransomed, and led a sacred hecatomb to Chryse. Then we might appease and persuade him. When he had thus spoken, he sat down, and among them rose the warrior, son of Atreus, wide-ruling Agamemnon, deeply troubled. With rage his black heart was wholly filled, and his eyes were like blazing fire. To Calchas first of all he spoke, and his look threatened evil. Prophet of evil, never yet have you spoken to me a pleasant thing. Ever is evil dear to your heart to prophesy, but a word of good you have never yet spoken, nor brought to pass. And now among the Danaans you claim in prophecy, that for this reason the god who strikes from afar brings woes upon him, that I would not accept the glorious ransom for the girl, the daughter of Chryses, since I much prefer to keep her in my home. For certainly I prefer her to Clytemnestra, my wedded wife, since she is not inferior to her, either in form or in stature, or in mind, or in any handiwork. Yet even so will I give her back, if that is better. I would rather the people be safe than perish. But provide me with a prize of honor forthwith, lest I alone of the Argives be without one, since that would not be proper. For you see all this, that my prize goes elsewhere. In answer to him spoke swift-footed, brilliant Achilles, most glorious son of Atreus, most covetous of all. How shall the great-hearted Achaeans give you such a prize? We know nothing of a hoard of wealth in common store, but whatever we took by pillage from the cities has been apportioned. And it is not seemly to gather these things back from the army, but give back the girl to the god, and we Achaeans will recompense you 3 or 4-fold, if ever Zeus grants us to sack the well-walled city of Troy. In answer to him spoke Lord Agamemnon, Do not thus, mighty though you are, godlike Achilles, seek to deceive me with your wit, for you will not get by me nor persuade me. Are you willing, so that you yourself may keep your prize, for me to sit here idly in want, while you order me to give her back? No, if the great-hearted Achaeans give me a prize, suiting it to my mind, so that it will be worth just as much. But if they do not, I myself will come and take your prize, or that of Aias, or that of Odysseus I will seize and bear away. Angry will he be to whomever I come, but these things we will consider hereafter. Let us now drag a black ship to the shining sea, and quickly gather suitable rowers into it, and place on board a hecatomb, and embark on it the fair-cheeked daughter of Chryses herself. Let one prudent man be its commander, either Aias, or Idomeneus, or brilliant Odysseus, or you, son of Peleus, of all men most extreme, so that on our behalf you may propitiate the god who strikes from afar by offering sacrifice. Glaring from beneath his brows, spoke to him swift-footed Achilles. Ah me, clothed in shamelessness, thinking of profit, how shall any man of the Achaeans obey your words with a ready heart, either to go on a journey or to fight against men of force? It was not on account of the Trojan spearmen that I came here to fight, since they have done me no wrong. Never have they driven off my cattle or my horses, nor ever in deep-soiled Thea, nurse of men, did they lay waste to the harvest, for many things lie between us, shadowy mountains and sounding seas. But you, shameless one, we followed, so that you might rejoice, seeking to win recompense for Menelaus and for yourself, dog-face from the Trojans. This you disregard and take no heed of. And now you threaten that you yourself take my prize away from me, for which I toiled so much with the sons of the Achaeans gave to me. Never have I prize like yours, whenever the Achaeans sack a well-inhabited citadel of the Trojans. The brunt of furious battle do my hands undertake, but if ever an appointment comes, your prize is far greater, while small but dear is the reward I take to my ships, when I have worn myself out in the fighting. Now I will go back to Thea, since it is far better to return home with my beaked ships, nor do I intend while I am here dishonored to pile up riches and wealth for you. Then the king of men, Agamemnon, answered him, Flee then, if your heart urges you. I do not beg you to remain for my sake. With me are the others who will honor me, and above all Zeus, the Lord of counsel. Most hateful to me are you of all the kings that Zeus nurtures, for always strife is dear to you, wars and battles. If you are very strong, it was a god, I think, who gave you this gift. Go home with your ships and your companions, and lord it over the Myrmidons. For you I care not, nor take heed of your wrath. But I will threaten you thus. As Phoebus Apollo takes from me the daughter of Chryses, her with my ship and my companions I will send back. But I will myself come to your tent, and take fair-cheeked Briseis, your prize, so that you will understand how much mightier I am than you, and another may shrink from declaring himself my equal, and likening himself to me to my face. So he spoke. Grief came upon the son of Peleus, and within his shaggy breast his heart was divided, whether he should draw his sharp sword from beside his thigh, and break up the assembly and slay the son of Atreus, or to stay his anger and curb his spirit. While he pondered this in mind and heart, and was drawing from its sheath his great sword, Athena came from heaven. The white-armed goddess Hera had sent her forth, for in her heart she loved and cared for both men alike. She stood behind him and seized the son of Peleus by his fair hair, appearing to him alone. No one of the others saw her. Achilles was seized with wonder and turned around, and immediately recognized Pallas Athena. Terribly her eyes shone. Then he addressed her with winged words, and said, Why now, daughter of Aegis-bearing Zeus, have you come? Is it so that you might see the arrogance of Agamemnon, son of Atreus? One thing I will tell you, and I think this will be brought to pass. Through his own excessive pride shall he presently lose his life. Him then, the goddess, bright-eyed Athena, answered, I have come from heaven to stay your anger, if you will obey. The goddess white-armed Hera sent me forth, for in her heart she loves and cares for both of you. But come, cease from strife, and do not grasp the sword with your hand. With words indeed taunt him, telling him how it shall be, for thus will I speak, and this thing shall truly be brought to pass. Hereafter 3 times as many glorious gifts shall be yours on account of this arrogance, but refrain and obey us. In answer to her spoke swift-footed Achilles, It is necessary, goddess, to observe the words of you two, however angered a man be in his heart, for it is better so. Whoever obeys the gods, to him do they gladly give ear. He spoke, and stayed his heavy hand on the silver hilt, and back into its sheath thrust the great sword, and did not disobey the word of Athena. She returned to Olympus, to the palace of Aegis-bearing Zeus, to join the company of the other gods. But the son of Peleus again addressed with violent words the son of Atreus, and in no way ceased from his wrath. Heavy with wine, with the face of a dog but the heart of a deer, never have you had courage to arm for battle along with your people, or go forth to an ambush with the chiefs of the Achaeans. That seems to you even as death. Indeed, it is far better throughout the wide camp of the Achaeans to deprive of his prize whoever speaks contrary to you, people-devouring king, since you rule over nobodies. Else, son of Atreus, this would be your last piece of insolence. But I will speak out to you, and will swear thereto a mighty oath, by this staff, that shall never more put forth leaves or shoots, since first it left its stump among the mountains, nor shall it grow green again, for the bronze has stripped it on all sides of leaves and bark, and now the sons of the Achaeans carry it in their hands when they act as judges, those who guard the ordinances that are from Zeus, and this shall be for you a mighty oath. Surely some day a longing for Achilles will come upon the sons of the Achaeans, one and all, and on that day you will not be able to help them at all, for all your grief, when many shall fall dying before man-slaying Hector, but you will gnaw the heart within you in anger that you did not honor the best of the Achaeans. So spoke the son of Peleus, and down to the earth he dashed his staff, studded with golden nails, and himself sat down, while over against him the son of Atreus continued to vent his wrath. Then among them arose Nestor, sweet of speech, the clear-voiced orator of the Pylians, from whose tongue flowed speech sweeter than honey. 2 generations of mortal men had passed away in his lifetime, who had been born and reared with him before in sacred Pylos, and he was king among the 3rd. He with good intent addressed the gathering and spoke among them. Comrades, great grief has come upon the land of Achaea. Truly would Priam and the sons of Priam rejoice, and the rest of the Trojans would be most glad at heart were they to hear all this of you 2 quarreling. You who are chief among the Danaans in council and chief in war. Listen to me, for you are both younger than I. In earlier times I moved among men more warlike than you, and never did they despise me. Such warriors have I never since seen, nor shall I see, as Perithous was, and Dryas, shepherd of the people, and Caeneus, and Exadius, and godlike Polyphemus, and Theseus, son of Aegeus, a man like the immortals. Mightiest were these of men reared upon the earth, mightiest were they, and with the mightiest they fought, the mountain-dwelling centaurs, and they destroyed them terribly. With these men I had fellowship when I came from Pylos, that distant land far away, for they themselves called me. And I fought on my own, with those men could no one fight of the mortals now upon the earth. Yes, and they listened to my counsel and obeyed my words. So also should you obey, since to obey is better. Neither do you, mighty though you are, take away the girl, but let her be, as the sons of the Achaeans first gave her to him as prize. Nor do you, son of Peleus, be minded to strive with a king, might against might, for it is no common honor that is the portion of the scepter-holding king, to whom Zeus gives glory. If you are a stronger fighter, and a goddess mother bore you, yet he is the mightier, since he is king over more. Son of Atreus, check your rage. Indeed, I beg you to let go your anger against Achilles, who is for all the Achaeans a mighty bulwark in an evil war. In answer to him spoke Lord Agamemnon. All these things, old man, to be sure, you have spoken as is right. But this man wishes to be above all others. Over all he wishes to rule, and over all to be king, and to all to give orders. In this, I think, there is someone who will not obey. If the gods who exist forever made him a spearman, do they therefore license him to keep uttering insults? Brilliant Achilles broke in upon him and replied, Surely I would be called cowardly and of no account, if I am to yield to you in every matter that you say. On others lay these commands, but do not give orders to me, for I do not think I shall obey you any longer. And another thing I will tell you, and take it to heart. With my hands I will not fight for the girl's sake either with you nor with any other, since you are taking away what you have given. But of all else that is mine by my swift black ship, nothing will you take or carry against my will. Come, just try, so that these 2 may know. Forthwith will your dark blood flow forth from my spear. So when the 2 had made an end of contending with violent words, they rose, and broke up the gathering besides the ships of the Achaeans. The son of Peleus went his way to his huts, and his balanced ships together with the son of Menoetus, and with his men. But the son of Atreus launched a swift ship on the sea, and chose for it 20 rowers, and drove on board a hecatomb for the god, and brought the fair-cheeked daughter of Chryses, and set her in the ship. And Odysseus of many wiles went on board to take command. So these embarked and sailed over the watery ways. But the son of Atreus bade the people purify themselves, and they purified themselves, and cast the defilement into the sea, and offered to Apollo perfect hecatombs of bulls and goats by the shore of the barren sea. And the savour thereof went up to heaven, eddying amid the smoke. Thus were they busied throughout the camp, but Agamemnon did not cease with the strife with which he had first threatened Achilles, but called to Talthybius and Eurybates, who were his heralds and ready squires. Go to the hut of Achilles, Peleus' son, and take by the hand the fair-cheeked Briseis, and lead her hither. And if he give her not, I will myself go with a larger company and take her, that will be even the worse for him. So saying, he sent them forth, and laid upon them a stern command. Unwilling went the 2 along the shore of the barren sea, and came to the tents and the ships of the Myrmidons. Him they found sitting beside his tent and his black ship, and Achilles was not glad at the sight of them. The two, seized with dread and in awe of the king, stood and spoke no word to him, nor made question. But he knew in his heart, and spoke, "Hail, heralds, messengers of Zeus and men, draw near. It is not you who are guilty in my sight, but Agamemnon, who sent you forth for the sake of the girl Briseis. But come, Patroclus, sprung from Zeus, bring forth the girl, and give her to them to lead away. However, let these two themselves be witnesses before the blessed gods and mortal men, and before him the ruthless king, if hereafter there shall be need of me to ward off shameful ruin from the host. Truly he rages with baneful mind, and knows not at all to look both before and after, that his Achaeans might wage war in safety beside their ships." So he spoke, and Patroclus obeyed his dear comrade, and led forth from the hut the fair-cheeked Briseis, and gave her to them to lead away. So the two went back beside the ships of the Achaeans, and with them, all unwilling, went the woman. But Achilles burst into tears, and withdrew apart from his comrades, and sat down on the shore of the grey sea, looking forth over the wine-dark deep. Earnestly he prayed to his dear mother, with hands outstretched, "Mother, since you bore me, though to so brief a span of life, honor surely ought the Olympian to have given into my hands, Zeus who thunders on high, but now he has honored me not a bit. Truly the son of Atreus, wide-ruling Agamemnon, has dishonored me, for he has taken and keeps my prize through his own arrogant act." So he spoke, weeping, and his lady mother heard him, as she sat in the depths of the sea beside the old man her father. And speedily she came forth from the grey sea like a mist, and sat down before him, as he wept, and she stroked him with her hand, and spoke to him, and called him by name, "My child, why do you weep? What sorrow has come upon your heart? Speak out, hide it not from your mind, that we may both know." Then with heavy moaning spoke swift-footed Achilles to her, "You know. Why then should I tell you the tale to you who knows all? We went forth to Thebe, the sacred city of Aeton, and laid it to waste, brought here all the spoil. This the sons of the Achaeans divided properly among themselves, but for the son of Atreus they chose out the fair-cheeked daughter of Chryses. However, Chryses, priest of Apollo who strikes from afar, came to the swift ships of the bronze-clad Achaeans to free his daughter, bearing ransom past counting, and in his hands he held the wreaths of Apollo who strikes from afar, on a staff of gold. And he implored all the Achaeans, but most of all the two sons of Atreus, marshallers of the people. Then all the rest of the Achaeans shouted assent, to reverence the priest and accept the glorious ransom. Yet the thing did not please the heart of Agamemnon, son of Atreus, but he sent him away harshly, and laid upon him a stern command. So the old man went back again in anger, and Apollo heard his prayer, for he was very dear to him, and sent against the Argives an evil shaft. Then the people began to die thick and fast, and the shafts of the god ranged everywhere throughout the wide camp of the Achaeans. But to us the prophet with sure knowledge declared the oracles of the god who strikes from afar. Forthwith, then, I first bade propitiate the god, but thereafter anger seized the son of Atreus, and straightway he rose and spoke a threatening word, which now has come to pass. For the quick-glancing Achaeans are taken the maiden in a swift ship to Chryse, and are bearing gifts to the god, while the other woman the heralds have just now taken from my tent and led away, the daughter of Briseis, whom the sons of the Achaeans gave to me. But you, if you are able, guard your own son. Go to Olympus and make a prayer to Zeus, if ever you have gladdened his heart by word or deed. For often I have heard you glorying in the halls of my father, and declaring that you alone among the immortals warded off shameful ruin from the son of Cronos, lord of the dark clouds, on the day when the other Olympians wished to put him in bonds, even Hera and Poseidon and Pallas Athena. But you came, goddess, and freed him from his bonds, when you had quickly called to high Olympus him of the 100 hands, whom the gods call Briareus, but all men Aegean, for he is mightier than his father. He sat down by the side of the son of Cronos, exulting in his glory, and the blessed gods were seized with fear of him, and did not bind Zeus. Bring this now to his remembrance, and sit by his side, and clasp his knees, and hope that he might perhaps wish to succor the Trojans, and for those others, the Achaeans, to pen them in among the sterns of their ships, and around the sea as they are slain, so that they might have all profit of their king. and that the son of Atreus, wide-ruling Agamemnon, may know his blindness, and that he did not honor the best of the Achaeans. Then Thetis answered him as she wept, "Ah me, my child, why did I rear you, cursed in my childbearing? Would that it had been your lot to remain by your ships without tears and without grief, since your span of life is brief and endures no long time. But now you are doomed to a speedy death, and are laden with sorrow above all men. Therefore to an evil fate I bore you in our halls. Yet in order to tell this your word to Zeus, who delights in the thunderbolt, I will myself go to snowy Olympus, in hope that he may be persuaded. But remain by your swift seafaring ships, and continue your wrath against the Achaeans, and refrain utterly from battle. For Zeus went yesterday to Oceanus, to the blameless Ethiopians for a feast, and all the gods followed him. But on the 12th day he will come back again to Olympus, and then will I go to the house of Zeus, with threshold of bronze, and will clasp his knees in prayer, and I think I shall win him." So saying, she went her way, and left him where he was, angry at heart for the fair-girdled woman's sake, whom they had taken from him by force, though he was unwilling. And meanwhile Odysseus came to Chryse, bringing the holy hecatomb. When they had arrived within the deep harbor, they furled the sail, and stowed it in the black ship, and the mast they lowered by the forestays, and brought it to the crutch with speed, and rowed her with oars to the place of anchorage. Then they cast out the mooring stones, and made fast the stern cables, and themselves went forth upon the shore of the sea. They brought forth the hecatomb for Apollo, who strikes from afar, and forth stepped also the daughter of Chryses, from the seafaring ship. Her then did Odysseus of many wiles lead to the altar, and place in the arms of her dear father, saying to him, "Chryses, Agamemnon, king of men, sent me forth to bring you to your daughter, and to offer to Phoebus a holy hecatomb on the Danaans' behalf, that thereafter we may propitiate the Lord, who has now brought upon the Argives woeful lamentation." So saying, he placed her in his arms, and he joyfully took his dear child. But they made haste to set in array for the god the holy hecatomb around the well-built altar, and then they washed their hands and took up the barley grains. Then Chryses lifted up his hands and prayed aloud for them. "Hear me, god of the silver bow, who stands over Chryse and holy Scylla, and rules mightily over Tenedos. As before you heard me when I prayed, to me you did honor, and mightily smote the host of the Achaeans. Even so, now fulfill me this my desire. Ward off now from the Danaans the loathly pestilence." So he spoke in prayer, and Phoebus Apollo heard him. Then, when they had prayed and had sprinkled the barley grains, they first drew back the victims' heads, and cut their throats, and flayed them, and cut out the thighs, and covered them with a double layer of fat, and laid raw flesh thereon. And the old man burned them on stakes of wood, and made libation over them of gleaming wine. And besides him, the young men held in their hands the 5-pronged forks. But when the thigh pieces were wholly burned, they had tasted the entrails, and they had cut up the rest of it, and spitted it, and roasted it carefully, and drew all off the spits. Then, when they had ceased from their labor, and had made ready the meal, they feasted, nor did their hearts lack anything of the equal feast. But when they had put from them the desire for food and drink, the youths filled the bowls brimful of drink, and served out to all, first pouring drops for libations into the cups. So the whole day long they sought to appease the god with song, singing the beautiful paean, the sons of the Achaeans, hymning the god who works from afar, and his heart was glad as he heard. But when the sun set and darkness came on, they lay down to rest by the stern cables of the ships, and as soon as early rosy-fingered dawn appeared, then they set sail for the wide camp of the Achaeans. And Apollo, who works from afar, sent them a favoring wind, and they set up the mast and spread the white sail. So the wind filled the belly of the sail, and the dark waves sang loudly about the stern of the ship as she went, and she sped over the wave, accomplishing her way. But when they came to the wide camp of the Achaeans, they drew the black ship up on the shore, high upon the sands, and set in line the long props beneath, and themselves scattered among the tents and ships. But he, in his wrath, sat beside his swift-faring ships, the Zeus-sprung son of Peleus, swift-footed Achilles. Never did he go forth to the place of gathering, where men win in glory, nor ever to war, but wasted away his own heart, as he tarried where he was, and he longed for the war cry and the battle. Now the 12th morning thereafter had come. Then into Olympus came the gods who are forever, all in one company, and Zeus led the way. And Thetis did not forget the behest of her son, but rose up from the wave of the sea, and at early morning went up to the great heaven and Olympus, where she found the far-seeing son of Cronos sitting apart from the rest upon the topmost peak of many rigid Olympus. So she sat down before him, and clasped his knees with her left hand, while with her right she touched him beneath the chin, and she spoke in prayer to King Zeus, son of Cronos. Father Zeus, if ever amid the immortals I gave you aid by word or deed, grant me this prayer. Do honor to my son, who is doomed to a speedy death beyond all other men. Yet now Agamemnon, king of men, has dishonored him, for he has taken and keeps his prize by his own arrogant act. But honor him, Olympian Zeus, lord of counsel, and give might to the Trojans, until the Achaeans do honor to my son, and magnify him with recompense. So she spoke, but Zeus, the cloud-gatherer, spoke no word to her, but sat a long time in silence. Yet Thetis, even as she clasped his knees, so held to him clinging close, and questioned him again a second time. Give me your infallible promise, and bow your head to it, or else deny me, for there is nothing to make you afraid, so that I may know well how far I among all the gods am honored the least. Then, greatly troubled, Zeus the cloud-gatherer spoke to her. Surely this will be sorry work, since you will set me on to engage in strife with Hera, when she shall anger me with taunting words. Even now she always upbraids me among the immortal gods, and declares that I give aid to the Trojans in battle. But for the present, depart again, lest Hera note something. And I will take thought for these things to bring all to pass. Come, I will bow my head to you, that thou may be certain, for this from me is the surest token among the immortals. No word of mine may be recalled, nor is false, nor unfulfilled, to which I bow my head. The son of Cronos spoke, and bowed his dark brow in assent, and the ambrosial locks waved from the king's immortal head, and he made great Olympus quake. When the two had taken counsel together in this way, they parted. She leapt straightway into the deep sea from gleaming Olympus, and Zeus went to his own palace. All the gods together rose from their seats before the face of their father. No one dared to wait his coming, but they all rose up before him. So he sat down there upon his throne. But Hera saw, and failed not to note how silver-footed Thetis, daughter of the old man of the sea, had taken counsel with him. Forthwith then she spoke to Zeus, son of Cronos, with mocking words. Who of the gods, crafty one, has now again taken counsel with you? Always is it your pleasure to hold aloof from me, and to give judgments which you have pondered in secret, nor have you ever brought yourself with a ready heart to declare to me the matter which you devise. In answer to her spoke the father of men and gods. Hera, do not hope to know all my words. Hard will they prove for you, though you are my wife. Whatever it is fitting for you to hear, this none other shall know before you, whether of gods or men. But what I wish to devise apart from the gods, of all this do not in any way inquire or ask. In answer to him spoke the ox-eyed lady Hera. Most dread son of Cronos, what a word you have said! Truly in the past I have not been accustomed to inquire nor ask you, but at your ease you devise all things whatever you wish. But now I have wondrous dread at heart, lest silver-footed Thetis, daughter of the old man of the sea, have beguiled you. For at early dawn she sat by you and clasped your knees. To her, I think, you bowed your head in sure token that you will honor Achilles, and bring many to death beside the ships of the Achaeans. Then in answer to her spoke Zeus, the cloud-gatherer. Strange one, you are always suspecting, and I do not escape you. Yet you shall be able to accomplish nothing, but shall be even further from my heart, and that shall be the worse for you. If this thing is as you say, then it must be pleasing to me. Sit down in silence and obey my word, lest all the gods that are in Olympus avail you not against my drawing near, when I put forth upon you my irresistible hands. He spoke, and ox-eyed Lady Hera was seized with fear, and sat down in silence, curbing her heart. Then troubled were the gods of heaven throughout the palace of Zeus, and among them Hephaestus, the famed craftsman, was first to speak, doing pleasure to his dear mother, white-armed Hera. Surely this will be sorry work, and that is no longer bearable, if you two are to wrangle thus for immortals' sakes, and set the gods in tumult. Neither will there be any joy in the excellent feast, since worse things prevail. And I give counsel to my mother, wise though she be herself, to do pleasure to our dear father Zeus, that the father upbraid her not again, and bring confusion upon our feast. What if the Olympian, the lord of the lightning, were reminded to dash us from our seats, for he is mightiest far? But address him with gentle words, so shall the Olympian forthwith be gracious to us. So saying, he sprang up, and placed in his dear mother's hand the double cup, and spoke to her. Be patient, my mother, and endure for all your grief, lest, dear as you are to me, my eyes see you stricken. Then I shall in no way be able to succor you for all my sorrows. For a hard foe is the Olympian to me in strife. On a time before this, when I was striving to save you, he caught me by the foot and hurled me from the heavenly threshold. The whole day long I was carried headlong, and at sunset I fell in Lemnos, and but little life was in me. There the Sintian folk quickly tended me for my fall. So he spoke, and the goddess, white-armed Hera, smiled, and smiling took in her hand the cup from her son. Then he poured wine for all the other gods from left to right, drawing forth sweet nectar from the bowl. And unquenchable laughter arose among the blessed gods as they saw Hephaestus puffing through the palace. Thus the whole day long till the setting of the sun they feasted, nor did their heart lack anything of the equal feast, nor of the beauteous lyre that Apollo held, nor yet of the muses who sang, replying one to the other with sweet voices. But when the bright light of the sun was set, they went each to his own house to take their rest, where for each one a palace had been built with cunning skill by the famed Hephaestus, the Olympian god. And Zeus, the Olympian, lord of lightning, went to his couch, where of old he took his rest, whenever sweet sleep came upon him. There he went up and slept, and beside him lay Hera of the golden throne. End Book 1.
Thank you, James, and thank you all for listening to this reading of the Iliad. We'll be back soon with more. Until then, stay safe out there.